Hey guys, it's Ben the Coin Geek, and today we've got a video very specific about fractional notes, but especially the second series of fractional notes. We're going to take a deeper dive into these guys. Remember, you can like, share, and comment on the videos. You can also join our memberships. All that information is available in the show notes there, the video description. So this series is really interesting. So the first series of fractional notes were known as the postage notes. These, they moved into a completely different look. From 1863 to 1865, and by completely different, I mean they actually made all the notes look identical, right? So you've got your 5, your 10, here we go. You got your 5, your 10, your 25, and your 50. So these notes are interesting because they already have a couple things that are very different than those other notes. First of all, you have these big, heavy printed overprints on them. Right? And so this was a counterfeiting measure that the US treasurer took to try to make it harder to make fakes and counterfeits. And then they also have a different color on the back of each denomination, which is kind of cool that they all have the one uniface, but then the back is different. One of the things that this series lends itself to are several different types of errors because of the printing process. They all have the denomination in an overprint fashion here with that same type of golden material that is on the front of the note. So with it on the reverse of the note, oftentimes you can get these to where that is inverted. So the 50 would be upside down, or the 25 would be upside down, the 10, the 5. It is also possible to get notes that are on the wrong colored background. In other words, you'd have basically a mule where the color is incorrect. But you know, the inverted backs you can see somewhat frequently. Some of those other things are really hard to come by. This series also has a number of different overprints on the back of the notes. So some of the notes have 0 overprint on the back. So if you look at the 4 corners, on this 10-cent piece, all you see is a small amount of resin from where it was probably on a piece of paper at some point mounted. So there's like a little X mount on there, right? But a lot of them have these different little overmarks in the corners, and they can be very difficult to interpret because a lot of them look like a blob. That should be an S, and then the numbers 1863. See, look, there's an 18, right? It's just so easy to see. That's a 63. So they're very difficult to see on some of these, but for example, as we look closer, here's one that's printed a little more clearly on this 50-cent piece. There's the 18, and the 63 is still pretty blobby. Now the second series is pretty interesting because you know, you have a much larger variety of notes to collect just within the series. So in the first issue, you had the 4 different notes with the 4 different styles. So nice even 16 to work with. The second issue, you can see what you run into is a lot of these different notes have the different overstamps on the back, and that's going to give you all those different numbers. And you'll see that most of these notes in circulated grades you can pick up for like $30 to $50. Challenging, there is that one 10-cent piece with the 063 overstamp, which is really rare, very hard to come by. Also, I don't know that you can really cherry pick these per se from dealers because I don't know a lot of dealers that have a ton of these, and the guys that end up having them generally know what they're looking at and what they have. Now, fractional notes are really interesting because there's a lot of different little types of information that are out there that I'm not always sure what's accurate and what's not. Because you have your basics, and then you have this note from an old collection saying that there's a lot of different varieties that exist on these. You know, this one they're talking about how they had a different thickness of the printing. And I'm not sure if that's actually intentional or not. So this, of course, has this nice thin golden circle you can see through, and this one is really thick and heavy. I'm not sure if that's just what we'd call over inking, but he also mentions this one has this black stripe on the back, which I'm also not 100% sure what that is from. It does appear to be from the printing process in some way. If you look at it, the way it's got that little bit of smudge up on top of it. So it is interesting to see, once you dive into any one of these series, you can start finding all the esoteric stuff that's involved. Not to mention, you know, fractional notes, they all have different specimens and things of that nature. Oftentimes they'd be uniface. Sometimes you can buy notes that are still attached, like they're from a sheet, but they're uncut. So that is a basic look, or maybe a little bit deeper dive, into the second series of US fractional notes. And you can see, you know, from the obverse, from the face, they're really kind of boring to look at, but from the reverse, they're actually one of my favorites because each denomination has its own color. So leave your comments down below, guys. Let me know what I missed. Any additions, errors, withdrawals. Thanks for watching.